Yeah, like this movie has range for Kurt Russell. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Popcorn Watchlist podcast, where we celebrate and discuss our favorites in TV and film. I am your host, Xavier, and today we are continuing our series on what we all recommend. So this past week, I had recommended a really fun cult classic favorite movie of mine, but it's going to be up to Danny and Zach to kind of get their thoughts, especially from us old heads like Anthony and myself, having recommended.
You're back.
This back. So 80's movie. Oh God, it's so old. But if you have not been following along our Popcorn Watchlist recommends watch list, then this week we are talking about a little known cult classic from the 80's, directed by John Carpenter, called Big Trouble in Little China. It stars John Carpenter's action guy at the time, which was Kurt Russell. You also have before the mannequin, Kim Cattrall, and you also have in one of his most iconic roles, James Hong, who just recently was killing it in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Movie came out in 1986. So fun fact, this was actually a year before I was born, and it was, weirdly enough, it's a cult classic because at the time it was considered a box office bomb for John Carpenter, but I think home video and TV releases, I think, really kind of gave the movie an extra life and created what we would now consider a cult following. I know, Anthony, like, you've always mentioned that, like, this movie you've always seen, like, in certain parts, and then you just kind of, like, pick it up and continue watching towards the end, right?
Yeah, I remembered seeing it, I guess, when I was younger, and then now rewatching it, I realized I don't think I had ever seen all of it. And so a lot of this was new for me. There were some moments where I'm like, okay, I remember this, but I guess when I watched it, I just didn't remember the movie because watching, I'm like, what is this movie? Like, I didn't know, I forgot, and I didn't know what I was watching. So it was interesting. It was an interesting watch.
I bet the initial, we'll get to, scene breakdowns or other fun takes later on, but especially that scene when they're at the airport where Wang is picking up his girlfriend, that part, people barely remember. Just like, what is random, Chinese gang hoodlums just roll up and try to steal something.
Kidnap people.
Yeah, just
like in broad daylight.
Yeah.
They're there standing in the corner, like nobody cares they're in the corner, and then they just...
With those glasses.
Dude, the one dude with the
white one?
Those are the coolest things ever.
It looked like a Pokemon. Like, what? What's that?
It was like a sliver of...
Like a frog eye.
See through.
That I think that sort of kind of tried to come back recently, but as you guys have all seen, Zach, Danny, and I watched this very recently, and so I kind of brought it up last time as sort of just like let's bring a movie out of left field. It's one of my personal favorites that I always kind of watch whenever it's on TV. Like, it's just, oh man, they're showing Big Trouble in Little China, and there's always these little weird quirks that this movie has, and what goes on in the storytelling and the way that the characters bring up and the way that the world's mythology comes to life, and it's all just thrown at Kurt Russell's main character, and it's just, this guy is just really just along for the ride, and it's cool because there's a character later in the movie, it's just like, there's too many questions with not enough answers in a short life, even for as short as you. And it's just at first it's kind of it sounds like nonsense. He's just kind of rambling, but then you realize, the movie doesn't really it just shows you a lot of stuff, but doesn't give you a lot of answers into a lot of the wild Chinese mythology stuff going on, and you kind of just like the main character, you have to take it at face value and realize that, the main plot is still here. They're throwing all this crazy stuff at you. You want to know more, but the movie just keeps moving on. It's like, wait, let's go back to that other thing. It's like, nope, no time. You got to save the girl and save the world, basically.
Yeah, it's a 90-minute movie, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very quick.
With credits, it's 99 minutes, like
Yeah.
just under 100 minutes. Pretty lean for a action movie like these days. But it was cool because you got a mix of everything in this movie. And I think it's like what kind of drew me to it initially is like you have a kind of rough and tumble everyman in Kurt Russell's Jack character. Like he just kind of like it's just random truck driver dude. He just hangs out with everybody in Chinatown in San Francisco, and then he just gets roped in with his best friend to this whole like, it's initially it's like a gang war, but then it turns out it's like a gang war that's a mask for a mythological battle of good and evil.
Magic.
Mystical war.
Mystical battles.
Yeah, I wasn't even expecting the movie to be what it was.
Exactly.
Like, I thought it was just like, okay, big,
It's
like
Gangs of New York, but with
something like that. Yeah, like I thought it was just like more like some kind of street level gang kind of thing going on, and
Then it just took a turn.
and some martial arts because maybe Little China, maybe you have like Chinese street gangs or something.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some of that kind of stuff, but I didn't expect magic and sorcery and all that stuff.
And mythology built into it. Yeah, that's like the draw of the movie for me. And
You
like
had Thor show up.
yeah, you didn't expect ride the lightning. This guy was literally riding the lightning.
They should have played.
I know.
Did that song come out before that?
yes, it did.
It came before that.
They
right?
should have played it,
Yeah, it did.
but they probably didn't have the money to.
We should have played
get it.
Holding Out for a Hero.
Yeah,
They should not have played Rolling Out for a Hero. Please
Should've.
stop. No, dude, this dude Lightning, he's literally like
he's right. He was writing from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think that's the cool thing. Like, I remember, as a kid playing Mortal Kombat and then like discovering this movie is like,
That's that
well,
guy.
look at that. He's just like Raiden with a crazier hat, and like everybody like they have the hat, but like the headgear to hold the hat in place, and they just look so
And you just can't see.
like super ultra menacing. Like it's these crazy big straw hats, and like the guy who's they call those guys the Three Storms, and they're like, are they gods? They're like, no, they're like magicians. It's like, what are you talking about? These straight up flying, not lightning. And this other dude just like it's super big, and like just like is fighting along all over the place. And then you have the other dude who's like with the really long hair, but I guess he's like rain, and so it's always raining when he showed up like outside, and it's like a lot of the weird goofy stuff. And it was interesting that Zach pointed that out. It's like, oh yeah, it's like it could be like this like underworld Chinese gang tong stuff, and then it turned into this ultra mystical stuff where this guy is like, oh, the crime boss is David Lopan. He's like, he's a crime boss, but he's actually 1,000-year-old like half undead demon man trying to escape his shackles and rule the world or something. Like it's so cool, and you get all this other stuff. And I don't know, man. Like I just initially like those little things kind of coupled together. Just like as a kid, I just saw I was like, man, this is cool, and like it was like enough to where it sparked your curiosity about stuff, and then you like want to like look into things, especially in this day and age where it's all about information. You can just look up all these things, and they start talking about like like the Chinese have many hells, and like, oh, this is Qing Dai, the god of the East, and talking about the first emperor of China, and then how all these other mythological like things that happen, and you're just like, wait a minute, like that's actually a thing, and it's not just something that John Carpenter like made up. Like there's like mythological basis to all that stuff, and like as a kid that kind of really latched onto me, and that's that, and I think with a lot of people, just like the imagery of the movie really kind of lends itself into being this weird, unique piece of like cinema and movie that like I haven't really get from almost anything else. Like the only thing that was maybe closest to this, but it got a little crazy too fantastical, and it's like had a different tone. Was Anthony? What was that movie with Jet Li and Jackie Chan, The Forbidden Kingdom?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was about this Boston kid that ends up getting transported to mythological ancient China, and he hangs out with Jet Li and Jackie Chan as two different characters, of course. But that's kind of all over the place. But like this movie just feels so unique, and like it's just like its own little niche that was like, oh, I think this is the perfect movie to kind of like just show it to, especially you two, Danny and Zach, to figure out. This will give you like this extra insight and like like cool little peek behind other corners of moviedom, and it's for what it's worth. Like it's not like the greatest movie ever, but it's just like it's got its own unique character, and it's just for me it's just very entertaining. But I'll open the floor to you two, kids of the podcast, so to speak. What did you guys think?
So yeah, I mean, I mentioned briefly a little bit ago saying that I was expecting something totally different, like something more grounded, and then it just ended up being something that was kind of like out of this world in a sense. And I was having a lot of fun watching it. There are a lot of like goofy little things here and there. And
how about the part where where they all like they're getting hyped up for the final big battle, and then Jack just grabs his Tech 9 gun,
That's
shoots in the air,
awesome.
and he just shoots.
That's hilarious.
He just knocks himself out. It's perfect. Like those kind of things are just like, dude, you're out of your element here, but he has his own thing. And the movie had its own fun little callbacks too. Like when Wang's trying to bet him double or nothing, I'm gonna cut this bottle. And he's like, okay, buddy.
He's like,
I'm gonna cut the
not
bottle.
that one.
Yeah, but not this one. And then then he
his
misses.
fast reflexes.
Immediately.
it's on the reflexes.
It's all in the
Like some of those cheesy effects and like
the green
little
smoke and the
moments,
green
yeah.
explosions, like the smoke screens. The whole point they're trying to drive away.
The martial arts was
Yeah,
really wacky and fast, like like if you've ever seen it, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Max when he's doing
dancing.
his weird kung fu.
When he's
his
dancing.
dance kung
dancing
fu
stuff.
when he tries to do all.
Wait, is it kung fu or karate that he does? I don't know which one he does.
Whatever.
But he does and he's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like the part where he's in the chair and he starts going downhill. And he just stops at the end, kind of
I don't
Right on the well, oh no,
Yeah,
I need to
yeah,
get myself out of here. There's fun, goofy moments like that. Like when they're stuck in the elevator and it's it's getting water. It's salt water. What's going on here? And Wang's just shut up, we're gonna do it. I thought you said we could just get in here like the wind. Is this I said, like the wind, not the wind. And just think they're just kind of in this scrappy situation. And there are weird moments in that movie that stick with me forever when they get caught and then they get interrogated by Lo Pan, but in his old guy form, and he's in his own little wheelchair. And James Hong is just rapid fire asking a whole bunch of questions and making fun of them at the same time. There's a part where before they get to that, one of the three storms he's calling them oh, they're here, and this is where are we? He's you are nowhere. I was just damn
An immediate answer.
just shut up
So the three guys' names are Thunder, Rain, and Lightning.
Yep.
Yeah.
The three storms.
It's ridiculous.
And I love how
Thunder's the big guy.
Thunder, he had his cigar, he rolled up, who are these people? And then Lo Pan's this is pissing me off to no end. His little quirks and stuff, those are those core memory things that are burned in my brain, from watching that stuff. And then he comes in, he's I can help you, and they just get into the elevator, and then
And
just
he throws it out.
And he's just I don't need this shit. This I don't need this cigar. I just wasted it. I don't care. It's or when Jack tries to sneak into the brothel to sneak out Miao Yin, but the three storms just raid the place, and that's where Mr. Lightning rides the lightning in there. He just comes down it's a rope, just yep, here we go. Grab the woman. They try to punch, and he tries to punch, I think, Rain.
He punches him twice.
And he just looks at him and is bitch, eat this kick, and he just flies.
Because also in that scene, what I with that scene too was Kurt Russell being this nerdy kind of a persona.
Yeah.
He's oh gee, oh golly.
Oh geez, golly, I like
with the
girls.
suit
I
and
like
the
the girls with
glasses.
the green eyes. No Chinese girls have green eyes. And he's
Because it's such a shift from his more laid back
the man with bravado. Yeah, and it shows. I like the joke that this
in a tweed.
I like to joke
suit.
that this movie has range for Kurt Russell. He gets to play different parts. He's acting while acting.
But it's that typical 80s cheesiness that
But but it works.
fun, though.
But it works in its own right, man. Especially in the final battle, when Wang is fighting with Rain, they jump
50 times that they jump at each other.
and they're for a good 6 seconds in midair, clashing swords. That's perfect. It's so goofy.
with the background of the blurriness going super fast.
Dude, it's
They show
awesome.
the shots, like the outside shots of them like going like this, and then they cut back into them hacking away at each other, trying to hack away at each other.
And the flipping happening, and like Wang is like just like he like does 4 front flips, and then he like lands like, "Hey guys, I'm here." Like,
And then he does like
all the handsprings,
somersaults,
like
yeah,
the handspring somersault. Yeah.
Like while they're fighting, like across the room and then backwards.
Oh yeah, or when he's fighting Thunder while Jack is with
There's
Lo
like
Pan.
constant things being thrown while they're like moving. It's like, who's throwing these things?
Like he can't throw it while he's flipping.
I know.
right?
He's probably like, and Thunder must have kicked them or punched them while they flew everywhere. And then at the same time, like you have I also
That
talk about
reminded
Egg
me
Shen.
of Pink Panther.
We got to talk about Egg Shen. So you kids, you
Dude,
guys haven't seen this.
I know, when I
You
saw him, I
finally
was like, I didn't know he was in this movie.
Yeah, he's the freaking
the
grandpa from Three Ninjas.
man.
And these guys don't know what we're talking about.
Oh.
They don't know what Three Ninjas
Oh
are.
man, my shoulder.
Yeah, dude. Egg
Rocky
Shen.
loves Emily, man. Come on.
Rocky loves Emily. Anyway, the Egg Shen.
Emily's
Egg
the
Shen is like the a lot of the him and Wang's dad were a lot of like the Chinese mythology exposition vehicles, but like they did it with such like charm and like charisma. You're just like, yes, sir, please tell me more. Oh no, we have to now go under Chinatown, but under Chinatown is like this like underground world of like weird, creepy black goo and monsters coming out of manholes to kill people.
Random ass
When the
creature. Like, what is
when
that?
that creature showed up, I was like,
The Sasquatch.
okay, I'm lost. What
Yeah, I was like,
Sasquatch.
and then Jack Burns
mess
is
with
like,
Sasquatch.
he's like, what was that? Do I want to know? Like, what's going on? And he just like threw a grenade. He's like, you will come out no further. Like, did you kill it? Is he just gonna grow away? Like,
Oh, the thing in the sewer. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was the
not the
Bigfoot
weird
thing
like
that we
Bigfoot
saw.
monster that
Well, I'm
kidnapped.
talking about the Bigfoot monster too. That
Oh no, I'm talking about the giant like
Kim
eel that came out.
Gracie
and
or Kim Cattrall's character just like looks because something opened. She's like, "What is this?" And then
Gets sucked in.
then
got-
Sasquatch takes you out of nowhere.
That's because it was telegraphed by like the statue, like it switched the eyes to have real eyes, Scooby Doo style, and then he just rolls up.
That's
Like he just rolled up. He's like, "Could you come with me?"
But that's like the most random thing to pop out of there. It's like,
It's mine. And he's just like, oh, and again, like, and it was like that's another like tie-in to just like when John Carpenter does stuff, like the makeup and like the costuming, or whatever, is always really good. Like even though he kind of looked creepy, like the eyes were really nuts, like the teeth and the whole suit just kind of made it look really creepy. Whoever's under that suit just had to move around.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
also,
what that spider thing was in the.
I don't even know what that was. Just rolled up and like ate that guy. I was like, that freaked me out as a kid. I was
That's
like,
like
what is that?
one of the Mario eels that came out of nowhere.
And then when Lo Pan is in his like old guy form, like that's like a bajillion years of makeup that gets thrown on him. Like he's just like a
With
half
effects.
alive corpse really. But then when he's in like his spirit form, he's like this, wearing that jade green like costume with all like the creepy eyes and like that's like he has like that creepy smile look, and the headdress. It's just like perfectly like freaky. It's like, what is going on here? And just
I already
this
knew
guy's freaking me out.
once that the first scene that they show him and he gets run over, and then he's just straight up like nothing happens to him, and then he does some like stuff with his eyes. I'm like, okay, this is how the movie's gonna be. Like,
Yeah.
I ran
was
him over.
he just like got up like if it was nothing.
Yeah, it's like, he ran me over.
I was like, no,
Nothing.
it was fake.
Yeah, I was like, that's not real. I was like, what do you mean it's not real? I just ran that guy over. Like, seeing with your eyes apparently doesn't mean as much in this movie. And like, but again, like, there's like bits of like realism in there. Like the guards in that whole like location, straight up with like assault rifles trying to shoot at the heroes and everything. So there's
Are you
just a
talking
lot of stuff going
about
on.
those gun sound effects?
Perfectly canned gun sounds.
Perfectly 80s action.
Just
gun sound.
Pew, pew, pew.
Like it doesn't even match the gun it is, but it's still like all of them sound the same.
It's perfect, yeah. Like it's just like, hey, that's all we had, and we're just gonna make
Yeah.
it work. Like it really was like, when we talk about like 80s action movies, like I feel like this one's in its own like weird hybrid, because it's like a mix of everything. Like, yeah, there's shootouts, but then there's like straight up action. There's like monster fights, and there's like even and there's like fun, goofy, like physical comedy with some of the fight sequences. Like even when Jack had to fight one of those like armored soldier guys, and he just had the boot knife and like stabbed him through and just fell. He just fell.
Gotta
He's
get
like,
him
oh,
off.
he just, oh shit! Like I know exactly what's going on. Like damn it, and he's just stuck. And then you had a magic fight with Egg Shen and Lo Pan where they like created weird like spirit avatars and fought each other. I love how cheesy that was.
It's like they both did a Kamehameha and then they fought within the Kamehameha.
It was double. It's so like I remember watching. I was like, man, that's whatever. It's magic fighting. Like you look at like how Voldemort fights Dumbledore in like book the movie.
Exactly
Kind of like that. But then it's just like
they go over the top and they have like actual like their projections
of their warriors just fighting, and like Lo Pan was like this peasant magic. I was like, damn, like oh okay, like it was cool seeing and apparently like Egg Shen, you infer that like he's been trying to fight Lo Pan for like a really really long time, and ever since like I guess Chinese have emigrated to the U.S. and like there's just so many things going on there, and like how Gracie Law's just like a lawyer for Chinese and Chinese Americans in there, just a little bit. It's like I need to expose the story.
Gracie Law.
These
names, man.
Or Grace Law. As a lawyer, she said, "I'm a lawyer." I remember even as a kid, I was like, "Really?" So if your last name is Law, you just have to be a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Like blah blah blah. This movie like is one of those like definitely like the 80s had a lot of these cult classic movies that I feel like this is one of those where it's just like, man, it's on, I gotta watch it. I know it's not for everybody, but I think it's one of my like it's like one of my personal favorites, even though I know it's an acquired taste. Or even some people will just straight up be like, this was not good. I'm like, whatever, man, like to each their own. But
the budget for this movie was $25 million.
It only made
11,100,000.
Yep, and that's 80s money, so it's not great.
Like you said, it probably made good on like.
But like, I
Like,
don't
post,
see the 25 million.
That was the thing too. I was like, was that all for Kurt Russell? Like, I don't know what that was for.
Movie, dude.
Was it all for Kurt Russell?
I mean, there are a lot of
there are some
sets.
elaborate sets.
Yeah, there are a lot of sets, and a lot of costumes.
It does go a lot of places.
But even still, though, 25 million. District 9 was like 30 million. And look what they did with that movie.
Well, that's
I mean, I know it's a lot in the future, but
but that's ingenuity, I guess. But yeah, it kind of with history, it made like John Carpenter not like as really bankable or as marketable for a lot of people making wanting to make movies or him wanting to make movies.
Did this thing come out before or after this?
Before.
Okay, well,
that was another one that was like initially no one liked it because it was too gruesome, but then it found
awesome
another like cult following or kind of resurgence because of just how good the effects and stuff were.
Yeah.
So the movie came out at the same time as Aliens.
Ooh, rip.
So that's
same time exactly or same like obviously same year.
Same like within 2 weeks.
Ooh,
jeez, yeah.
That hurts.
Good. Yeah.
James Cameron strikes again.
The Jim Cameron Grim Reaper comes and gets you.
Steals your box office money.
Rightfully earns it because homie makes bangers. Like they're too good. I don't know. Like this, it reminds me. Like, can you think of any other like this is a movie that I've like. You can tell. I guess as a kid when we were playing Mortal Kombat, you go back and you realize that Ed Boon and John Tobias got a lot of inspiration from this movie. Obviously from Bloodsport too, but because it's all tournament style. But like this movie, you got a lot of the crazy mythological stuff in there. Like you have a dude literally shooting lightning, and then you have Raiden in the game, and you have the funny hats and like the kind of like the over the top martial arts that go on in there. Like these guys, these three storms, they would do like 18 million moves for like one attack or like one magic thing.
It was like last
I love that. It's just like like especially the guy doing lightning, he's just doing all of this stuff with his hands and then shoot lightning, and you're like, oh man, it must be a lot to shoot lightning.
So did he do this movie with the intention of making it like the old style martial arts movies where it's like very cheesy, or he wanted to try to do that movie and it ended up being cheesy?
I think yes for both.
because then I would say, okay, well then he did a great job because this is kind of like a parody on those old style, not well made old martial arts movies. Because then I would compare it to Kung Pao, but Kung Pao is a straight up just parody of those movies.
I wouldn't say it was like it's like a parody, but I would say it's more like. Because according to John Carpenter, he really wanted... Yeah, it's more of an homage because he really wanted to make a martial arts movie. So you make a martial arts movie with like his own taste of weird kookiness that's built into it, like his own like that kind of John Carpenter flavor. And I guess like I looking back on it, I think for me it works. But again, maybe I'm too generous. But it's just like there are people just like myself that as a kid they watched it and they're like, man, this is cool, or like this is over the top, or like this is really wacky, but like it still leaves a good impression on you somehow. And like you'll see other movies that will either have callbacks to this or like are kind of done in the same style, where you have like a sort of like a lovable buffoon of like your main hero that's kind of caught up in something that's way bigger than him, but he, honest to goodness with a good heart, he goes in there and helps save the day. And I think that's like the overall like fun type of takeaway I got from this movie.
Don't we all like those type of movies? Just saving the day at the end of the day.
At the saving the day, he sort of gets the girl, but then he said, "Nah, you know what?
You know what? I don't need
Hang tight, honey. I'll be right back." Like he understood he needed more personal growth before he can, latch on to.
Yeah, but that stinger at the end of the movie.
Yeah, then we got that plot twist at the very end.
Yeah, man.
Post-credit scene.
Creepy.
Not even. It was like before credits.
Creepy Sasquatch monster. You know what old
Strikes
Jack
again.
Burton says.
And what was? Oh my gosh! This floating head with eyeballs.
That was Lopan's like security
Inner
system.
mind.
I know that's what
Yeah.
it was, but what was it?
Don't again.
You can't ask
not enough time for questions.
Yeah, the whole movie is just like what is going on?
But don't ask questions.
Oh
Like
my
what?
God.
Why are there people upside down? It's the hell of the upside down sinners. Don't ask questions. Like what? Like what? Like why is this guy dead? Why
Like
is?
we are him in this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I guess.
I love that. And
Let's
even
keep
when
going.
even when Lopan's like, I will marry both women, and then like, and then they do the whole like ceremony with the two swords. You're like, what is going on here? And it's like, oh, it worked. Like, sure.
I like the scene where they were going to rescue the ladies that got kidnapped, and they're like in their little cages, and then they go and fight these, I guess, woman guards.
Oh man.
And like they make them look like they're this scary and like badass, and then like they barely do anything, and they get hit like once. I don't know. It was just so weird.
They kind of dodge. No, they hit them.
They hit them with like their bow, and they get smacked, and then they do like
and then one hit,
like a spin
Just
kick,
fell off
and then
the
they
bridge.
just.
or the
It's
other,
like
or the
people, man.
what was I forgot the other guy.
It's like these are your guards, or they like lose in one hit.
What was the other dude's name that was hanging out with Wang at that time? Was they're trying to go down there to stop while Jack was?
Dude,
like,
that guy's hilarious.
that guy was hilarious, but like he turned around, he was getting beat up.
Eddie Lee.
Eddie Lee. So Eddie,
He's just like the guy's like, I'm just here to hang out.
I'm here to hang out and help. It's just like, and then like he tries to like he gets beat up a little bit. Then he gets just like judo chops or like knockouts. It's like damn, like that dude's strong. Like we can't have him on for every fight.
Wang, like out of nowhere, like after like half of the movie, then he's like, nah, I'm a like kung fu master.
And then
He didn't make him seem like that at all at the beginning of the movie.
and then they got the crazy like superpower potion, and everybody became a badass.
Oh, that's true. The potion.
But it makes you think the climax of the movie with just Jack grabs again, bumbling action hero. He grabs his knife and he's like, ha ha, and he just hits the gong and misses this 7 foot tall guy entirely.
Well, I think he had like just kind of moved out of the way and it.
Well, there was one where
And everybody, and then like Gracie's looking, like, what the hell? He's like, oh, I don't know, man. It's like,
They're
oops.
just like,
Like,
like oh,
oops.
and there was that one point where he ran out of bullets finally from his gun, and then he drops the gun, and then he's like, all right, I'm gonna get my knife from whatever his sock, and he picks it up, and it just like he throws
Yeah,
it somewhere. It's like, oh damn!
Like, I gotta go grab my knife again. Yeah, he's so like bumbling. It's great. Freaking boot knife. And then that's the part where he finally grabs the gun and gets more ammo, but then Thunder grabs it and he just like obliterates that gun. Like that gun turned into glass.
he like chops it and just.
And just I love all the mannerisms, all the fight choreography, like just like it's nuts. Like, and even then, like there's just like little things, like the way the lightning guy got in the end. Like they're escaping, and Egg Shen's like, move. And I'm like, oh, is he gonna throw? He just throws a statue in his face. He just throws a statue in his face, and he's like, eat this. And then you see like the cheesy like effects fire. Like, oh, I guess he's dead.
He must have gotten hit in the shoulder. That's what happened.
No, he got hit in the face. Homie got hit in the
Well, earlier didn't he like swallow his lightning and like shoot it back at him? With his magic powers.
Yes, or like he took it and like
He Yoda'd him.
He Yoda'd him with his own lightning and then shot it back at the guy. The guy's like, and he's like, "What the hell?" Like, yeah, old man can fight. He's throwing like weird marble grenades at everybody. And even at the guards at the end, and they're like, all the guards show up. He's like, "Shut up, I got this."
Who was the guy that he hit? He hit someone, and then this guy ended up, because anytime there was a thing that he threw, people were flying left and right. Like if it was the strongest thing of all time, it was ridiculous. But there was one person that he hit, and they went flying into the fat statue, and they just like flew into the middle of the statue. Who was that?
Was it like the one goon that was like super ultra powered in the gang fight?
Maybe
Before the 3 storms came out. I remember he's like, "What happened? These yellow turban guys are winning, and then these 3 magic dudes showed up, and then everybody's dead." Like,
maybe.
yeah.
I don't know. But one guy got thrown into that big statue, and then when most of that area started falling down, the guy was still there. Like his legs were twitching as things were falling onto that statue. It's like, damn,
He's
that
like,
guy
he double died.
It's like,
I said someone double died in this movie at one point, and the next is like, no. he died multiple times.
Yeah, he triple died. Like there's one guy that flew in the air, he blew up, and then like rocks fell on him, and he hella dead.
We had the some escalators to get into that statue.
Dude, I love that. It's like we're in this secret underground layer, and then
For a minute,
escalators.
I have to say, for a minute, I thought that the escalators were kind of shown accidentally, like in terms of like the way that they
Editing, like
yeah,
No,
with like
no, it was on purpose.
That's on
like
purpose.
framing of the movie, or like composite or like the composition of the shot. So like, okay, like are they supposed to be floating down? But then you can see the elevator.
no,
The escalator.
only Lopan can float.
Oh, we love that twice. I love how anticlimactic that showdown is. He just grabs the knife. He's like, "This is a good knife. Goodbye, Mr. Burton." Just throws the knife, reflex back, and just right headshots.
it was like a quick like
It's over.
Yeah, holy crap! Like he's dead. Like if you were one of these people these day and age, like they have your phone like on you, you're gonna miss that. Like immediately you're gone. Like, oh, what happened?
Oh, the
the boss fight's over. It's like, yeah, it's all in the reflexes. Was it superpower reflexes because of the thing, or is it just good old Jack Burton's, grit and experience? We'll never know, or maybe we will. Just rewatch
And
it.
then Thunder got too changry.
He got so changry, this man huffed and puffed and blew himself up. And you see like pieces of whatever like out the hallway. I was like, that freaked me out as a kid, especially like the final like
Big face.
and just him blowing up. Just gone. That's also kind of weirdly traumatizing as a kid.
And then like all the other like each leg like one by one like slowly
That was like a
Expanding.
total recall moment. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, that's around that time in the Total Recall. I think it was 88 or maybe 87, but no, I think it was 88. But anyway, that's not important. The important is that you two just saw a cult classic, so
Nice. crossed one off the list.
cross one off the list. Oh, before we get to next week's recommendation, I think it's the John Carpenter movie. You have to kind of talk about the music because he did it. He did his own music, so like it had like the perfect like just your standard like action movie kind of like oscillating synthesizer with a little bit of weird guitar stuff. Then you had like the moody ambiance Chinese. I always ever hear that music, it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like this really like mystical kind of weird synthesized string music, and
Yeah.
it fit in perfectly with whatever the hell is going on. Especially when this guy would just go through walls, and you're just like, oh, okay, like cool, like that's freaky. And then like the action scenes went with it perfectly. And again, like anytime something like weirdly mystical would come out, they would have like that little motif of like that kind of like high pitched like descending like string-esque synthesizer thing, because he's big on the synth stuff, and it was very 80s for me. Like I always hear that, I was like, yeah, that's pretty 80s.
But it's cool that you could like direct and like score your own project like this.
Yeah, I wonder who else does that.
recently.
Our boy Michael Giacchino. He can do it all. Yeah. Now we're gonna dive into just a. No, we're not gonna dive into.
They're gonna reboot this movie. Michael Giacchino.
Michael Giacchino's gonna reboot Big Trouble in
Direct
Little China.
and do this.
Well, they're
There
doing
you go.
a in universe kind of like standalone sequel with Dwayne Johnson apparently.
No, that was in like that was in like development hell. I don't think it's happening. There's been some like sequel comics, but that's just like from Boom Studios or anything like that. It's some real like deep cut stuff that a lot of the listeners may not really be into. But if you want like a cheesy, cool cult classic action movie, this one I can definitely recommend. Like, being generous, I would give this movie like a 7. Just obviously understanding the flaws, like the pacing and like some of the fight choreography and some of the camera cuts. But like, there's just other things that are just really like charming about just how matter of fact everything happens, and just like how like, and just a lot of it's carried by Kurt Russell's charisma. Like, he's kind of as like the guy who's just completely out of his element. He just sells it so well. I don't know how y'all think, but that's my 2 cents on it. I like this movie a lot.
I don't know how everyone else will rank it, but I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10.
That is fair.
It's kind of like a 3 out of 5. Like, it's still above average. I had a fun time with it. It was just a cheesy 80s movie, but you enjoy it at the end of the day. And I mean, I didn't grow up with this movie. This is the first time watching it, but I'm sure maybe if I grew up watching it, I maybe would have been a part of that cult classic
status.
following. But had some fun times. A lot of laughs.
Yeah, a lot of laughs. I like unexpected laughs. Yeah, a lot of unexpected laughs, but it works.
And I think part of it too is like me and Zach had no idea what we were gonna watch. It was like, oh, okay, like we all thought it was going to be one thing, and then
it turned into something else.
Turned into something else. So
nice. Hit him with the good old curveball.
But I give it a 6, and I think pretty fun to watch.
Cool, Zach.
Nice.
I'm gonna be more generous on this one because I did enjoy it, but then also because of like the wacky factor to it.
Wacky
factor. I think 7.5.
Man, there you go.
7.5 is
I think we got him. We converted him.
I'm surprised you enjoyed it that much.
I think Zach does have like a sort of fondness for the cheese.
Yeah.
At a certain point, which I think is just
not
cool.
Not Top Gun.
Not Top Gun cheese. Here we go again.
I somewhat like the cheese in Top Gun. It was just more like story wise, but it was still like okay. It was okay movie. But this one I put it more above Top Gun.
Nice.
OG Top Gun.
Wow, better than OG Top Gun.
What kind of cheese?
I will take that.
Provolone. Gouda.
Pepper Jack.
It was more Gouda.
Or would it be
Top Gun?
Would it be Pepper Jack?
The Pepper Jack. Because there's a little spice.
Little spice in there.
Okay.
There you go.
But I think what would be holding me back from like giving it a little bit higher is some of the. Like there was a lot of like explaining, a lot of exposition. It was like very like fast.
I think there's not enough info dumping. Like I needed more as a kid.
Yeah,
like there was a lot, but it was like rapid fire stuff. Like
it was like when it happened, it was like long sequences of just them saying, "Yeah, this is what's happening," and it's like 10 minutes of them explaining.
We're bringing order. We're seeing like they're reading the bones. Like yes, there we find order from chaos. And I was like, "The hell are you talking about?"
Like the first 20 minutes, I was like.
What is happening here? Like, dude, what the hell? But like, I guess we're all right. We're like, whoa, and this is getting wilder. Like, it's perfect. Like, awesome. Good job, Zach.
Yeah, some of the dialogue and the writing was out of hand. I was like, what?
Oh,
who
for
wrote
sure.
this? I was like, what is happening?
Oh, for sure.
Like, I think it had the first major turn at that like
the big gang fight.
The big gang fight, yeah.
Yeah, like again, like the gang was called the Lords of Death. It was like, what a name! And then it's like, oh, then they're the Wing Kong, like, and then it's like they've been fighting for centuries. Like,
and I like how they're just watching in the truck.
Yeah, they're just stuck in the truck.
In the middle of it, and then everyone's just kind of like walking.
Yeah.
Even like all these guys with red turbans, like even then they show up and they're just like they kind of like see him in the mirror and like just don't move, don't say shit, don't do anything, and like they don't pay attention. And I was like, man, all right, at least they got their eyes on the prize.
And the whole movie, he's like, they stole my truck.
Yeah,
I gotta get it back.
Truck?
At the very end, I got my truck. He almost like crashes into it again, and everybody's like, dude, why? Oh man, that's
Anthony,
cool, man.
what's your?
Yeah, I mean it's Yeah, it's not
a movie.
It's not a great movie. I'm pretty sure this is a movie that should be watched with a group of people.
Yeah.
It'd probably be more fun because it's very fun and entertaining. But like I said earlier, I don't think it's on purpose. So you're kind of laughing at the movie at how much nonsense is going on and how ridiculous it is. So it's not that there's funny lines or it's just things that are happening. Like I cannot believe what's going on right now. But yeah, I'm kind of like in the middle. I'd say like 6.5.
Right.
I enjoyed it for pretty much not remembering almost all of it, and so I mean,
It was almost like a first one.
Yeah. The first half was, at least to me, was kind of, it wasn't slow either because it's just a short movie. But I remember the first half, I'm like, okay, it's like slowly going, and then once they get deep into the warehouse in Chinatown, it's like they went to a warehouse and it's like constant different rooms and
layers
of this warehouse that they're in. It just made everything seem so much bigger than it actually was. But yeah, once they started getting into the weeds of all the mystical stuff, then I felt like I was laughing a lot more constantly. But yeah, it was fun. But 6.5, I would recommend it, but I recommend for people to watch it in a group because you may not like it. Just watch it on your own at 1 a.m.
Sweet.
Very cool. Very
like
cool.
I did.
All right, everybody. But yeah, right now as it stands, I think you can rent it off of Amazon Prime, or you can buy it through some other direct online digital streaming platforms. You could also probably find the DVD. I don't know. I think it's been reprinted into Blu-ray as well, but you can find it too. I don't know if they've done like a full-on like digital remaster of it, but it's a good one. I own it myself, so it's a fun one that I can like pop into if I ever, I'm really, really bored. If it's like, if I catch like the end of the movie and I'm like, no, I want to rewatch it, I'll just pop it in and watch the whole thing.
Like, if I see this on TV, like, I'll leave it on.
Yeah, you'll leave it on. We got them. We got them both. I love it. All right. So with that, I think this concludes my, my turn of what we're recommending for all our Popcorn Watch List listeners and viewers. Danny, it's your turn, right?
Yeah, so
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. So this movie that I'm going to recommend, I've been dying to talk about it with you guys.
Okay.
I'm sure both of you have seen it, but I think Zach's the only one that hasn't seen
Nice.
it.
What have I actually seen?
What have you actually
Yeah.
seen, right?
The movies you recommend.
Pretty much. Actually, I think I might pick something next, like when it's my turn, I'll pick something that I haven't seen, so that it encourages
Spice
me
it up.
Nice.
to watch something.
Okay.
But I'll have to go through my
So-
list.
The movie that I'm going to recommend is a movie that came out in 2020.
Oh,
And-
2020.
Yeah,
Okay.
2020, and I think it definitely got overshadowed. But I loved it. I saw it 3 times
I think I know what he's gonna say.
I think I know.
in 2020.
And
I bought it.
Sonic
Did you
1.
see it in theaters?
I did not.
Oh,
That's
so
what
I think I
wanted
know
to
what it
do,
is.
though. But
Uh-oh.
so
2020, interesting.
the movie I'm going to recommend is Tenet.
Ooh.
Oh,
Christopher
yeah.
Nolan.
You did not see that in theater.
He
That's how
has it in
works.
his home
Oh,
because I lent it
perfect.
to him.
I have Anthony's DVD, Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
4K.
4K.
I've seen it twice.
I bought
haven't
it, so
seen
I
it
have
yet.
the 4K version. It's also on HBO Max. But man, what a movie!
Oh, I'm excited to talk about this one. I have a lot. I have a lot of feelings about this movie.
It's gonna be weird to talk about this one.
Yeah, it's a fun one because there's a lot going on with it, and I think in retrospect, I think more people, this will be a little preview for next time, but y'all should watch this movie. If you didn't get a chance to watch this movie, watch it. You have the benefit of watching it at home. It has Christopher Nolan's quirkiness playing with things like time and editing, so you can watch it a little more comfortably. And you can watch the original cut without barely hearing anything.
Yeah, apparently the theater version had some audio issues,
Yep.
but at least when I got to see it at home,
You'll
That's
find
fine.
out what we thought about it, and hopefully, if you are listening to these in order, go ahead, watch it yourselves, and you can join along in with the discussion. We always post stuff up on our social medias as well as on Twitter, so follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and of course Twitter on Popcorn Watchlist. That way you can join in on the conversation. Give us your takes. If you've seen Big Trouble in Little China, if you haven't, do you want to go and see it, or what are your initial impressions before watching it? Join in on the conversation. It's a whole lot of fun. We love to keep the conversation going. Thank you for so much for tuning in, everybody, and we will catch you guys next time talking about Tenet. Thanks so much.
See you.
Later.
Later.